Not so far. The US President Joe Biden is in Angola, one of Africa's biggest oil and gas producer, for 48 hours as part of his final global tours before he leaves office next month. Let's chat to both the politics and the economics of President Biden's visit to Angola and indeed the sub-Saharan Africa. My guest on this tonight is Ayuk, the executive chairman of the African Energy Chamber in Johannesburg. Good to have you connected into our exchange, my friend. A good evening to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. How significant for Africa is President Biden's visit to Angola?
I think for the first time in almost 9 years, Biden is the first U.S. president since 2015 to come to Africa. It still means Africa is important to the United States of America. African issues are important. And but most importantly is that the United States wants to rekindle its relationship with Africa. And I think that's a challenge also on the incoming president, Trump, to keep that relationship going and really put Africa on the map and make Africa a priority. I think they now recognize that Africa is a priority. It should be a priority. It should have been a priority, but Africa must be a priority going forward. And I think Biden honoring his commitment to be in Africa this time, I say better late than never, but he did make sure it happened, and he is here.
What are the politics and the economics of this Biden's visit to Angola? Let's talk about the politics side of it, by the way.
I think the politics side of it, which you have to look at, is to say, when you reform your government, when you instill good governance, when you embrace markets, and when you set out some key changes, you are going to be rewarded by not just American, but Western investors and global community. Angola has done that. If you look at things politically, and President Lorenzo, since he came in, he worked on having a ceasefire in the Great Lakes around the DRC and Rwanda. But then he looked at the energy sector, which is like a big, big issue for the United States. He reformed the energy sector, cut taxes, provided incentives, made it easier to do business, dealt with a lot of our ground risk issues. You've seen companies respond. You've seen how he's put his minister, Diamantino Acevedo, to really get out there and get the job done. And that's tells you one thing. If you reform, you do the right thing, it's going to be met by billions at play, but also you are going to be respected globally and you are going to play that leadership role. That is what we see as the politics around it. And kudos to the Angolan government for what they have done, but they should not stop there. There's still a lot more work they have to do around forex controls, local content, really ensuring that local service providers get the support they need and continue to drive to deal with a lot of issues around energy poverty. And I think that's what the Americans are responding to. And they're also seeing the politics around stopping China from really taking a big, big role in that country.
Well, after years of being in bed with China, NJ, is Angola now facing the Western economies, frontally speaking? Is Luanda ditching the Chinese for the Western powers?
I think President Lorenzo is really smart in his approach. I don't think it's about ditching the Chinese or anybody. No, I think you would see President Lorenzo. He's been to China already. You've seen a lot of Chinese engagement. But yes, what they are looking at? They are looking at a multipolar, pragmatic, common sense approach towards engaging the wider world. You can't neglect the Western world and the United States because you want to keep historical friends like China. You can't neglect other friends because you want to keep friends from the colonial past like Portugal. What he says is that it's all about the Benjamins, baby. If you are going to be able to bring in the money, meet the needs of my people, I want to get my people out of poverty. And I think that is that real approach that he's looking at. So I think pragmatism and common sense are really, really the focus here, not picking either parties, or I think Angola continues to maintain a very, very great policy of non-alignment, and they are going to put Angola first, and they are going to put the region first, and they're going to put Africa first, and that you've seen that translate. Last week, I was with the Angolan minister in the Ivory Coast, the sharing expertise of what they've done with the Ivorian counterparts. So I do see them really taking leadership, but being for China or against China, for America or against America. They welcome everybody. As long as you have money to invest and to bring to the country, you welcome.
NJ, you've been to Angola a number of times, and you just alluded to your latest meeting with one of the ministers there. Talk to me about the economic direction of this West Southern African country, in particular, under the current administration of President Renko.
You look at look at where Biden was today. He was at the Lobito corridor. That corridor is going to see multi-billion dollars investment, between 10 to 18 billion dollars. You know what's going to happen there? It's going to be the main corridor transporting strategic critical minerals, be it in DRC or Zambia or Angola, some of the most pristine minerals that would be part of this energy transition. Those dollars are going in. But also, the Angolans have been really insistent on processing and these materials and developing a supply chain within Angola to ensure that the local and the Angolan people benefit from this. So the beneficiation is very, very strong. But if you also look at what they've been able to do economically in Angola, you've seen the Lobito refinery, billions of dollars. You've seen stuff being done by Genco. But you've also been looking at the energy space there. You've seen a lot of money coming in with new rig service agreements being signed by Chevron. ExxonMobil is moving out in drilling. Projects that were stopped before couldn't be moved. Total Energy is going to look at about $6.5 billion coming in. Money is going in that was supposed to go to countries like Nigeria will have slowed down on projects and other African countries. Angola is taking those dollars. So that tells you what? Their reforms, their economic policies, and their ability to be patient and be very well focused. Having technocrats like Paulino Geronimo Gaspar Sebastian Martins at Senegal, they also just focusing on getting that. That is the benefit of that. So their economic policy has been sound. It's not socialist. It's not capitalist. It's sound free market. And you've seen how that is moving, and the incentives are working, but they are also paying attention to everyday people. That's why you're seeing more people getting out of poverty. Crime is reducing, and infrastructure is going big in Angola. And people are excited. Consumer confidence is up, and that's something you need to be looking at when you see the economic policies of President João Lourenço.
So what should be the takeaways for Africa, broadly speaking, from the visit of President Biden, even as Donald Trump prepares to replace Biden next month?
Angola has showed that America can be back. Their relationship has stalled. Angola rekindled that relationship, and Angola got Africa moving again with America, which is very, very important. Donald Trump is going to be the drill baby president that Africa needs. And I think that one of the most important things with Donald Trump becoming president in January is that we are no longer going to face calls to abandon fossil fuels. Angola is a fossil fuel producer. Angola is going to enjoy great relationships with President Trump, just as it has with President Biden, because they are going to be able to unite together on energy. Africa is going to have an American president that is going to really drive up energy in Africa. It's not going to be telling Africans don't produce your energy. Drill, baby, drill is not going to be a curse word for him. He encourages that. But also he is going to treat with Africa with respect. I think the reports of maybe some people not liking his style, but not all my skin folks are my kin folks. I think you are just going to get somebody who says it the way it is. He's going to be a revolutionary president. He is going to put his country first, but he's going to encourage you to put your country first. And I think we have to thank Angola for that, because Angola has really paved that way. And I think that President Trump is going to be an amazing friend of Africa. And as an oil man, I think he is God's gift. Just like oil is God's gift to our drill baby drill culture.
So talk about drill, baby drill. News reports, I'm sure you've seen this already in the day, that OPEC Plus is likely to extend its 2.2 million barrels per day voluntary cut by another 3 months into 2025 when it meets on Thursday. What's your take on that to summarize this conversation with you?
I think that's the right thing to do, because when you look at the numbers, you're looking at OPEC making a decision that is very pragmatic. It's avoiding trying to have a volatile oil market, because we don't want volatility in the oil market. We want more stability in this market. But when you get stability, we're going to deal with our issue around underinvestment that has affected the oil industry. So I can give OPEC kudos to OPEC. They are going to watch the market, see how it works over the next 3 months. They're going to focus on some of the secondary sources, like what you see from Rystad, Wood Mackenzie, or IHS, S&P commodities, and they will look at those numbers. And then when you walk the data, they will make a decision in 3 months whether to cut more output or to increase output. But the most important thing right now is that we need a market that is stable and not volatile. So I give credit to OPEC for coming at a decision that was very data-driven and also very pragmatic, looking at the global circumstances, and it meets the needs of consumers and producers as well. But you also have to look at growth rates that is happening, be it in China or Asia, and what demand is going to look like. And so OPEC is going along those lines, and they're being very market friendly.
Oh, okay, we'll watch out for what happens on Thursday. Thank you so much, as always, for your deep insights into Africa's policies and energy industry issues of critical importance. Have a great evening out there in Johannesburg. NJ Ayuk, the Executive Chairman at the African Energy Chamber.